Assalamu alaikum. Welcome, dear students. Before you start with your activity sheet, we will introduce for you briefly trigonometric functions. Trigonometric functions are functions that relate the angles to the sides in a triangle. We care in this video for two trigonometric functions, which are the sine and the cosine. Trigonometric functions are important when studying triangles and modeling periodic phenomena such as wave, light, and sound. To define the trigonometric function for the angle theta in a right triangle, where each function relates this angle to two sides of this triangle, let's start by defining the side of a right triangle, which are the hypotenuse, the opposite, and the adjacent. The hypotenuse is the side opposite to the right angle, and it is the longest side in a triangle. This is the right angle. This is the side opposite to the right angle, which we call the hypotenuse. The opposite is the side opposite to the angle theta. In our case, this is the angle theta. This is the side opposite to it, which we call the opposite. If this is angle theta, then this side will be the opposite side. Now the adjacent side, which is the side other than the opposite and the hypotenuse. In our case, this is the adjacent side. Now the relationship between the trigonometric function and the angles of the triangle are as follows. We will start by with the first function, which is sine theta. Sine theta is defined as the opposite divided by the hypotenuse. From our figure, we have mentioned that the hypotenuse is the side opposite to the angle 90 degrees. The opposite is the side opposite to the angle theta. Then, in this case, sine theta is equal to the opposite, which is CB or BC, divided by the hypotenuse, which is the side AB. Note that the hypotenuse is greater than the opposite. Then, since the opposite is smaller than the hypotenuse, then the ratio is smaller than 1, which means that sine theta is always smaller than 1. Now let us define the second trigonometric function, which is cosine theta. Cosine theta is defined as the ratio of the adjacent side to the hypotenuse. In this figure, the adjacent side is the side AC, then cosine theta is equal to AC divided by the hypotenuse, which is also AB. Also, since the adjacent is smaller than the hypotenuse, then this ratio is always smaller than 1. Then cosine theta is always smaller than 1. Now, to calculate the sine of an angle, by using the calculator, you can find the sine of an angle from its measure. This is the calculator. We press on the sine button. Then we put or we add the measure of the angle to calculate the sine of this angle. For example, if the measure of the angle ABC is 40 degrees, on the calculator we press on the button sign, then we write 40, and we obtain sine 40 is equal to 0.6427, and as we have mentioned that sine of any angle is always smaller than 1. Also, by using the calculator, we can find the measure of an angle from its sine. This is the calculator. To find the measure of an angle, in the case where we have the sine of this angle, we need to press first on the shift button, then we press on the sine button. You should press on the shift button, then on the sine button. Then we write the value of the sine of the angle to obtain the measure of this angle. Here you need to notice that shift sign is expressed as sine minus 1, or it can be written as sine minus 1. For example, if sine ABC is equal to 11 over 18, which is a value smaller than 1, then using the calculator, shift sine, which we call sine minus 1, of 11 divided by 18 is equal to 37.66, which is approximately 38 degrees. Try now to put sine minus 1 of 2, as we have mentioned from a while that 2 or the sine of an angle should not be greater than 1. Here we used a value greater than 1. Then when we need to calculate the measure of the angle that refer to this sine, you will notice that sine minus 1 of 2 you will have on the calculator, or the calculator will display for you math error in this case. You need to take care for a very important remark, which is that sine alpha divided by sine beta, where alpha and beta are different angles, is absolutely different than or not equal to alpha divided by beta. You cannot cross out sine by sine. This is not accepted at all. Please take care for this remark. Thanks for your attention.